Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. Before I click through all the charts, I just want to encourage you to please click like, please click subscribe, and share the content, if you would, with friends and colleagues. And check out wickedstocks.com, where we offer a full suite of both daily and weekly analytical videos just like this: daily triple Q, daily SPY report, weekly analysis in the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and the long bond ETF, the TLT, as well as two individual stock picks every week that you never see on YouTube that cater to more the 3 to 5 week longer term swing trader to 3 to 5 month near term investor, always looking for gains of 20% or more on the underlying move. So check out wickedstocks.com and let's talk about Tesla. Just a reminder, once again, that about 3 weeks ago, we had a significant long-term buy signal when we closed above this 18-month channel top that is now well below the market at 203.08. Our target on the move, on the buy signal, at least initially, is the low 270s, this 271.37 rising channel top that goes back to the January low, 6-7 months in the making, is backed up by, if you will, supported by the 270.49 longer term descending 2/3 speed line. We might see this area this week. This is especially true following the settlement last week above this mid-band structure at 242.55. Now on the daily chart, I can show you that it all comes together at 241.72 to 243.49. This mid-band, if tested today, and I'm not expecting it, but if tested today, can contain selling through the rest of the week, and above which, as I've been saying for the last few days, that this low 270s objective is now expected over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Now, on Tuesday, we closed just above a long-term 5/8 Fibonacci level that you can see here on this daily chart. This incorporates the extremes of the last 2 years, that November 21 high against the January 23 low. Half back up, 50% back up is 258.15. We closed just above it. I don't want to read too much into that. We could easily, with the settlement that occurred on Tuesday, open right back below it. Is that a sell signal? Not necessarily, but I think it does allow 251.85 perhaps today, an intraday support level I don't really show anywhere, but it can contain intraday weakness. And yes, if we break 251.85, we can actually fall into the 240s. 241.72 to 243.49 is our base of support that, if tested today, can absorb selling through next week, and once again above which this targeted 271.53 formation is a 2 to 3 month objective, I might add, and we're almost reaching it within 3 weeks, is likely above 243.49 to be reached as a 1 to 2 week target. So I've said that again. Now, on the way down today, I can show you we have a steeply rising channel bottom at 246.98. Once again, I don't expect to see this, but this is one of those situations where there's just a lot going on. For 246.98, 243.49, 241.72, in which you can see here. And so, 246.98, that may be all she wrote to the downside for the day if we test it. And once again, I don't expect to see as much unless we break 251.05. So breaking or opening below 258.15 does allow 251.85 intraday. If we break 251.85, we could test 246.98. This would be a good area to buy into as a day trade. First of all, I don't expect to see this. I think the emphasis remains up. There is sort of follow-through buying. This updraft is playing out as anticipated, actually, and we can, and I think we should, possibly over the next few days, reach 271.54, especially if we could easily gap higher today. 259.68 was Tuesday's high. It wouldn't take much to actually open above that point, that gap, allowing the market to follow through to the upside, potentially reaching 271.54 intraday. 271.54 is preceded by a long-term speed line. Well, we've got a lot going on. 270.49, 271.37 is the weekly chart. So it really is the daily and weekly chart, 271.37, 271.54. That is our objective. That can contain buying into July, quite possibly into August trade. We could top out in the low 270s, not only for the week, but through July, and from here fall off. Once we test the low 270s, it would then be, at least at this point in time, a settlement below the low 240s that would then pivot the market aggressively south, and we could, under that scenario, unravel all the way back into the very low 200 area. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that once we test the low 270s, we can rotate south within a couple of months back into the low 200s. That is a real possibility. I'll let you play that as you like. Now, if you bought those out of the money 270 calls that I mentioned a few weeks ago, 265, 275 out of the money calls, you can take at least some profits here. Maybe all profits. If you're a swing trader, a 1 to 2 week swing trader, you might short, whatever that means to you, the low 270s in anticipation of the low 240s as a buyback, as an area that you can buy into. Once again, that is the daily chart here. Selling the low 270s, rotating south within a week or two into the low 240s, buying back. We could trade inside this band for several weeks. And once again, it would be a settlement below 241.72 that would tell me we have a good high for the month of June, and this market can give it back within 2 or 3 weeks into the very low 200 area. Once we test the low 270s, I'll let you know. I don't know exactly where this channel bottom will be, but I'll say right now it's in the upper 170s, low 180s, and as we move through July, it will likely converge with that 203.08 descending long-term channel top. This coming down, this coming up. This will be, this wedge you see here, once we test the channel top, will be our new base of long-term support that I'll consider to be in reach perhaps over the following 1, 2, 3 months. It would be a settlement then back below the low 140s, the low 240s. That would tell me that this market is, yes, inclined to continue all the way back into the low 200, upper 100, like 185 to 200 region, narrowing gradually. We'll see where it's at the time, but I think you catch my drift. Now, of course, we'd have a meaningful secondary buy signal if we close, above 271.37. There's a 5/8 Fibonacci well above the market in the low 300s, so forth and so on. But I will say, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, that if we were to close this week above 271.37, I'm anticipating a retest of that 414.49 all-time high, quite possibly by the end of the year. And so that would be a secondary buy signal of significant proportion. Until then, this area, the low 200s to the 270s, is our range I see as we move into the third quarter, which begins July 1st, through the third quarter, which ends, at the end of September. We could trade inside this area for the next 2 to 3 months. I think everything has been said that needs to be said. There's not much else that can be said. So I'll leave it at that for Wednesday's Tesla. Please click like, share, subscribe, and check out wickedstocks.com.